Hi, everybody. How are you? I hope you're doing fine and staying safe in this rough times. So, I would like to talk to you about today to get your mind out of all these things going on about my beautiful country, Colombia. So, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So, me llamo Sarha Romero y soy de Colombia. So, my name is Sarha Romero and I come from Colombia, more specifically from this city, Bogota, right here. I'll talk to you about it a little bit more later on. So let's start. But I would like to talk to you also about why it's important to learn Spanish and about the culture surrounding countries speaking Spanish. So over 20 countries around the world speak Spanish as their official language, starting from South America right here, South and Central America, but also there's one country in Africa called Equatorial Guinea that speaks Spanish, and of course, Spain. So around the world, more than 577 million people speak Spanish. Other facts about Spanish around the world. So it's actually the second language with the most native speakers after China. It's the third most used language on the internet, and it's the third most studied language in the world after French and English. It's also very, very culturally rich. So in terms of music, literature, cuisine, and customs, Spanish is basically amazing. Okay, let's start with Colombia. So Colombia is actually located in South America, in the north of South America, which actually brings the country a lot of advantages, such as being the only country in the region that has borders with the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. It's also surrounded by five countries: Panama, Ecuador, Peru, Brazil, and Venezuela. So talking about how big Colombia is 9 times smaller than the US, which makes it not too big, not too small. Population, we are, by the moment, 48 million Colombians. The capital is Bogota, the city I'm from. Our official language is Spanish. However, we have over 65 native languages between indigenous and Creole languages. Our official currency is Colombian peso. Just to give you an idea, $1 is equal to 4,000 Colombian pesos, and yeah, we count our money in thousands. And the weather is mostly humid, tropical. We have steady weather. We don't have seasons, only rainy and dry seasons throughout the year, but it's basically steady. Regarding our territorial organization, so Colombia is divided into departments. Think of departments as states. These are the departments you see here in the map. Then we have capital cities in every department, and surrounding that capital city, we have municipalities. Our president right now is this guy over here, Ivan Duque. Let me talk to you about the differences in education between Colombia and the United States. So to begin with, our academic year in schools goes from February to November, December. If we're talking about higher education, semesters go from February to mid-June, and then August to November mostly. Because as we don't have seasons, it's not very important to adjust our calendars to the weather. So also our grading scales go from 0 to 5, being 5 the maximum you can get. And well, our schooling system works this way. So first of all, you go to preschool 1 of 2 years. Now 0 and 3, it can be 3. Then you go to primary school for 5 years. You can go to secondary school, it's 4 years, and then upper secondary school. So this would be mandatory nowadays. In the past, you could get by with just a secondary schooling degree. And when you're done, you have to take the ICFES, which is a national exam, to get into either the university or to access technical education. After that, you can apply for a master's in specialization or go for a PhD. Studying in Colombia can be a bit difficult for some people. Public schools are free, but they're not too good in terms of quality. Private schools can be expensive and not affordable for everybody. In terms of higher education, um, you have public universities which are basically covered by the state, so that's pretty good. Or you can choose to go to a private institution. Let me talk to you about the geographical regions in Colombia. We are divided into 6 different regions. So in the north, we have the Caribbean. Here we have the Pacific region. Then in the middle, we have the Andean region, where I'm from. Right next to Venezuela, we have La Orinoquia. And in the south, we have the Amazon region. Also, we have a set of islands called the Insular region. Let me talk to you about that a little bit in detail. So, as you know, and as they are located in the Caribbean, beaches are beautiful in this region. The typical food of this region are fish bowls, and they used to be a British settlement. So for that reason, the inhabitants in this region speak 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Creole. The capital of this region is San Andres. Then we have the Pacific region. So about it, Cali is the most important city, and maybe you have heard about it. You have heard about it because it's the world capital of salsa. And one typical food is aborrajados, made out of plantain and cheese. It has a lot of very different and mystical places in the mountains, such as Santuario de las Lajas, or near the Pacific Ocean, such as this very famous beach, Playa de Nuquí, where you can go to see the whales during the right season. Afterwards, we have the Amazon region, which is the largest yet the less populous region, since its population is mainly indigenous communities. Tourism is also very important. The most important city in this region is Leticia. The typical food is piracuru, or fried fish as well. And these are some of the things you can see there: pink dolphins and beautiful landscapes such as these ones. There you can see indigenous people demonstrating for their rights, because sadly they're not very recognized by the government. Then we have right next to Venezuela, La Orinoquia, which is the home of our cowboys, you can say. It has beautiful landscapes full of plains, and which are used for cattle and agriculture, and it has a very, very rich culture in terms of music, living style, and everything. And you can also visit places such as Caño Cristales, or the River of the Seven Colors, which is beautiful. The most important city of this region is Villavicencio, and you can eat very, very nice beef and steaks. The Caribbean region is the most touristic place in Colombia. It's located in the north. It has amazing beaches and parks, and it's very famous because of its walled city, which is Cartagena. It's one of the oldest in the continent, well, in South America at least. One of the main dishes is cocadas. It's a sweet dish made out of coconut, and it's home to the second largest carnival in the world. I talk to you about that more in depth in a sec. Then we have the Andean region, where I'm from. It has lots of coffee because the climate is perfect for crops. It has different climates since it has a lot of mountain ranges, and the most important cities are there. So, for example, Bogota, where I'm from, is there. One very, very important dish is ajiaco. And then we have a picture of Villa de Leyva, another very important and old city. And some of the most beautiful places in the country, like El Peñón de Guatapé or El Valle de Cocora. This is our national tree, the wax tree. And I'll talk to you a little bit about my city, Bogota. So again, if you ever travel to Colombia, you'll get there first. Well, This is Monserrate. It's a place where you can go sightseeing. The city is pretty big, as you can notice. So it's right now it has over 8 million people. And what I love about Bogota is that it combines the best of nature with the best of the city. La Plaza de Bolívar is the main square, which has the most important buildings around, such as La Catedral Primada, which is a very old and patrimonial church. Then we have the Palace of Justice and the House of Nariño, which is our house, our White House, you can say, or where the president lives. If you ever go to Colombia, you must visit the Gold Museum, which has one of the biggest collections of pre-Columbian craftings and gold around the world. You can also walk around the city and see the Spanish architecture. And also, I really recommend you to go into a graffiti tour around the city. Also, buying craftings is very common among tourists, and you can get plenty of gifts for a very reasonable price. In terms of food, we have these very typical dishes. Let's start with empanadas, which are like fried cakes, you can say, fried beef cakes. They're full of, you can fill them up with whatever you want. It can be cheese, it can be beef, it can be chicken, potatoes. So we have a lot of varieties of empanadas, and we have pan de bono, which is a kind of bread with a lot of cheese in it. It's great, and it has an Italian origin actually. Bandeja paisa, which is a very heavy dish with a lot of ingredients, and achiras, a little kind of baked bread with a lot of cheese in it. We love cheese. But my favorite of them all is of course ajiaco, because it comes from my region, and it's a very heavy soup. As the city can be kind of cold, and we don't use heating because we're used to that, and the climate is steady. It can go from around 60 degrees to 70. It's quite alright for us. However, when it's cold, we like to take a nice ajiaco, which is a soup that contains a lot of different kinds of potato, and it's very, very tasty. Another very important thing about Colombia is that we have exotic fresh fruits all year long. If you ever go, you could eat a different kind of fruit during a whole year without repeating. Okay, about our carnivals and celebrations. The most important carnival in Colombia is in Barranquilla, which is the city where Shakira is from. I bet you know her. And the saying of this carnival is, those who live it are those who enjoy it. So the carnival is celebrated right before Ash Wednesday. It lasts for between 4 to 5 days, and it's full of color, parades, music, and after Rio de Janeiro's carnival is the biggest one in the world. Or you can go to Medellin, which is the second most important city in Colombia, and see the flower festival. So the climate and the weather and diversity of Colombia helps to create this kind of parades with different kinds of flowers, where people can display all the colors and types of flowers they have. In terms of sports, we are very proud of our sports people. For example, we have 2 Olympic medalists, Catherine Ibargüen, she won the gold medal in triple jump, or Mariana Pajon, who is a 2 times winner of the medal gold in BMX. Also in tennis, last year actually, Robert Farah and Juan Sebastián Cabal won the US Open doubles, or Egan Bernal, who was the first Colombian after many, many years of trying that won the Le Tour de France in road bike last year. However, soccer is the most important sport in Colombia. We love soccer, so every time there's a match, we tend to get together, have some drinks, eat together, and watch the match. So it's very, very important for our culture, and it's an occasion to celebrate and gather with your friends and family. In terms of music, we have several types of music since we are very happy people and we enjoy partying a lot. Then we have vallenato, for example, typical from the Caribbean region. It's very lively and it comes from that region. I mean, it was created in that region. So I invite you to listen to it. Música llanera or llanera music is from the region bordering with Venezuela, La Orinoquia, and it tells the stories of cowboys and it's very, very fast-paced and impressive. The harp is one of the most important instruments. This kind of music, salsa, although original from New York, it's very important to Cali, to the whole country. Salsa has been emblematic in Colombia, and also to finish with, we have carranga, which is from the Andean region, and it's very, very funny, I must say. Finally, regarding stereotypes, if you ever meet a Colombian, never talk to them about drugs or cocaine, since we have a very dark history regarding this. And well, this figure here, Pablo Escobar, was a man that did very, very horrible things in our country. He did bombings, he did kidnappings, and he was a drug lord. So we don't enjoy when people wear t-shirts with his face or talk to us about him, because he brought, during the 80s, a very, very violent and bloody time in Colombia, and actually made our country famous because of drugs. So we don't appreciate him at all. If you ever meet a Colombian, talk to them about the other things that we have. And I must say that Colombia now is a very safe country to visit. Another stereotype is that not everybody loves coffee. I mean, we're a coffee producer. After Brazil and Vietnam, we're the third largest producer of coffee around the world, but not everybody likes it. Punctuality. In terms of punctuality, we're not very good. We're never on time, and we have this expression actually, which is called ahorita. Ahorita means a little bit from now, but that's not true. It can be an hour after, 5 hours after, or even the day after. In terms of music, well, you could say that Shakira is all it is to Colombian music, but she's not. We have rising stars like J Balvin or Maluma. J Balvin sang in the Super Bowl with J-Lo, and Maluma has sung with figures such as Madonna. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. I hope you got to know much more about Colombia, and I invite you to visit my beautiful country. As they say, as we say in our country, well, the only risk about visiting Colombia is wanting to stay. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.